Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all here today. I'm Vinayak Sharma, a core member of the Azure developer community and a former intern at FactSoc. I'm thrilled to welcome you to the session 2 of our Azure AI Engineer Associate AI 102 Bootcamp. This will be a Kickstarter session on how to get started with Azure AI Services, and it is designed to introduce you to the powerful capabilities of Azure AI. We will explore how these services can revolutionize the way you build intelligent applications and solutions. Thank you all for joining us and being a part of this incredible learning journey. We are honored to have Saurav Raghuvanshi with us today. Saurav is an Azure PaaS engineer at Microsoft with extensive experience in deploying and managing platform services. His expertise in AI and cloud solutions will guide us through intricacies of Azure AI, providing valuable insights into how we can leverage these services to create innovative applications. Without any further delay, let's dive into the session. I would now like to invite Saurav sir to take over the stage and lead us through this insightful journey. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vinayak, first of all, for inviting me, and thank you everyone for joining for today's session. And as we said in the last session, that we are going to start from the basics. We want to cover that everyone should be on the same page. We should understand from ground zero what AI is. Then we will go into understanding what all the pre-built services that is already there into Azure that you can utilize in your day-to-day application, whether being a software engineer, whether being a developer, whether being a cloud or DevOps engineer, or being a AI engineer. Because even if you are not an AI engineer, you need to learn about the AI and need to understand how to use AI services, because this is what the new normal is. Industry is changing, and we need to be ready for this industrial change. So that's what we are going to cover today. So let me start by sharing my screen, and so as soon as I share screen, I would like to see comments, how you are feeling about the session, or you can just introduce yourself so that we feel engaged. And anytime if you feel like you have any questions while I'm presenting or I'm talking or sharing anything, please feel to share that in your comments. We will walk through the comment section as well at the end of the session or in the middle while we do the deployments and all of the services. We'll use that time to go through the chat questions. So feel free to ask your questions. And so let's get started. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Great. So, guys, today's we are going to talk about getting started with Azure AI services. It's going to be a fundamental session to get started with understanding what AI is, what AI services Azure offer, what all the complete bucket of services that we have that we can utilize in our day-to-day life. So, let's get started. It's the time to unleash the power of AI for you. Understand how, while we are learning this complete technology, understand how you can use this in your day-to-day life, whether being a college student, how you can use it to enhance the projects that you are working or start a complete new project. If you're a professional, think about opportunities where you use this skill to improve your productivity or improve the functionality of your application or whatever the job that you do in your day-to-day life. The industry is changing, and the way we should work, we should also change with the change in the technology, because we are in one of the most fast changing the technology in the world, and AI is now leading that space. So we need to understand AI, we need to understand how AI can be run in a cloud computing environment. So we are going to talk about these concepts. But before getting started about me, my name is Saurav Raghuvanshi. I'm currently working as an Azure PaaS engineer. It's been 2.5 years working with Microsoft. And before even coming to Microsoft, I have been part of Azure developer community. I was leading the community for Dehradun. Currently, I'm leading the community for Bangalore as well. So that's about me. You can connect me on through LinkedIn, Twitter, GitHub, Instagram. Feel free to reach out to me on any platform with your questions, concern, anything I can help you in your career. Feel free to reach out, and I will be glad to help. So before we should understand about Azure AI or even what all the services Azure AI offers, it's very critical to understand what is artificial intelligence. So there are a lot of technical and philosophical, I would say, definition that is there into the industry. But for me, AI is all about the capability. It's about how the software is trying to inherit the human behavior or exhibit the human behavior. It could be any of the behavior that we as a human pursue or we as a human have. Okay, so it could be vision. As you know that, right? We being a human, we can see images or videos, and we can understand what is there into that particular image. Maybe that is a person image, or that's a robot, or that's an apple or a banana. We'll able to find out. Let's say if someone will tell that, can you able to find out which is apple in this image or which is banana in this image? We will able to do it, right? Being a human, we can able to do it, and that's what even AI can do it now. So it is one of the feature that human have, and that's what AI is trying to learn or trying to exhibit into their software world. Okay. Other thing is speech. We as a human are very good at speech, right? We love to communicate. We love to understand what other person is saying. We understand just by hearing words. We understand the sentiment of the people, whether that people is happy or sad or how that person is feeling. We understand these things, right? That's what even now AI can do. Using NLP models, it can understand the language that we are speaking. It understand how whether that particular sentiment of the person through the, let's say, comments into e-commerce website or any application. It understand the sentiment of the person, whether it's a positive or it's negative. It do that automatically, so it understand the language or the written text that we have. Also it understand in a real world speech conversation as well. We as a human can also translate language into one language into another, right? Definitely I cannot translate it to multiple language, but here even AI can do more than what I am capable of. It can convert, let's say, English into French or English into Japanese or any language that we can think about, right? So that's what AI capability it's trying to. You can now relate it to the human. AI is nothing trying to do anything different. It's just trying to do what human is good at. So yeah, exactly. It's what it is trying to do. Decision making, like we as a human, we are very good at decision making, right? Based upon the historical data or our experience, we try to take decisions, right? Based upon understanding. Let's say if we have to choose in 12th whether you're going to choose maths or you're going to choose biology or arts or commerce, we decide based upon our historical experience. We based upon how the industry is going, what is my interest, we take based upon our perspective, we take decisions. And that's what even AI is capable of. Based upon the historical data or data on which it is trained, it can help us to take the decision making. It take the decision making automatically without the involvement of human being. Let's say simple example could be anomaly detection. It is one of the key area into the finance sector where based upon the transactions, uh, like a bank want to find out the anomalies into your payment method. Let's say you live in India and someday there is a payment made from let's say Europe from your credit card. You will soon able to get a call from your banking company telling that, okay, did you make the payment or is it some fraud happened with your account? So how they are doing it? If you have thought about that, they are not someone sitting there and going to see all your transaction. No, it's not like that. It's just trying to find the anomaly. It's the AI model behind the scene that it's running, and it's trying to find out what like all the payments transaction are lies in the India sector, maybe UP or in Bangalore or any place in India. But this transaction is it somewhere in Europe? So it is conflicting with your normal trends or normal behavior of your payment, and that's where you see call from your bank or finance team to help you understand whether it's a real payment or someone did the fraud. text analysis and conversations. We are very good at conversations, right? Let's say we have the data, data mining, I would say, and we can conversation, we can talk based upon the data. We understand each other feeling. We try to answer based upon the data that we have, and we understand the text, right? That okay, what's that meaning is, and that's what now AI can do. AI has the capability of conversational model. You have seen lot of chat bot into application, even getting used from long period of time, where based upon the data it is feed upon, if you ask the question that is relevant to the data that it already know, it will answer you based upon the pre-created questions and answer series. Okay, so that's what even now AI is capable of. That's what the features of human we had in the past. But there is a new field completely, and it's booming. We all have seen it somewhere in our day-to-day work. That is generating text and images. It is one of the key feature of human being, right? That we can generate the real content. It should not be plagiarized. It should be complete, unique, and that's what we as a human are capable of. We whatever we say sometimes, maybe we quote some person, but most of the time it's our own feeling or our own understanding we try to present, right? Maybe today I'm delivering the session, maybe I would have prepared from somewhere, but when I'm talking to you guys, it's completely pure, it's completely coming from myself, right? It's not someone complete copy or some complete copy content. I'm just referencing to what all I have studied in the past and trying to generate my own content, right? And now with generative AI into software industry, AI is capable of also doing the same thing. It is capable of generating the real content that is not there anywhere. It will reference definitely to the all the available data or resources on the internet, but it will generate the real time, completely non-plagiarized content. Okay, and the same thing goes for images as well. It is one of the critical C, right? We as a human are creative. We create visuals, we create images. We have seen great painters in world which generate the real images. But with AI now, AI is capable of doing that as well. Maybe at not that extent, that good what we see from, let's say, some great painters. But yeah, it is much going to be better than what I can draw. So yeah, that's what AI is capable of. It providing you all the capability what human have to a software, so that software can pretend or exhibit the behavior of what we as a human have. And the benefit of is going to be people is able to relate now going future. Let's say you are opening a website and there is a chat bot or application that is there which already know everything that maybe you are going to ask, and based upon the question that you are asking, it able to give you the answer in real time, that okay, what this complete website is all about, can you help me prepare for this, that, anything you can ask and it can do that. Sorry, that's what you see in the chat gpt as well. And that's what a generative AI model, one of the example of generative AI model. When we now today we talk about AI and everything, it's now becoming a boom because of the generative AI technology. But do you think that it was the start of the AI? No, definitely not. Generative AI is just the one part of the AI. It has started long back. It is one of the most, I would say, trending technology for now. But artificial intelligence started back in 1956 when there was initial field of computer science that started. People started using a computer on a big, I would say, centers where big keyboards were there. But at that time, to make the such realistic AI model was not possible because of lack of chips. Because AI model depend upon lot of compute power, right? Today we know that GPUs, CPUs are required to train these large scale LLM models. But at that time, it was not there. But still, the concepts of artificial intelligence was there, and people wanted that their software or their application should create or replicate human intelligence, that it should behave how human will be behaving. Then we started with machine learning. It is one of the sub part of artificial intelligence, I would say. And what it was trying to do was it was trying to learn from the large scale of data. It used to train the model itself, and based upon that, whatever the future data that will be coming, it will try to predict the answer based upon what all it has learned during the training phase. Okay, it's like, okay, someone joined your company, and you cannot just give the work, right? You cannot just tell them, okay, just go and create this AI model for our application. You have to train that person, train about the culture of the company, train about what you expect from that particular person, and then only you will able to take the outcome, right? And that's what even machine can do. First, once you onboard a machine learning model, you have to train it on a real world data. You have to train it on the data, uh, and you have to understand the model, that okay, whether it's performing good or not. If it's performing good, you will deploy that model, and whenever the future data will be coming, you will pass that into that model, and model will generate or predict the answer based upon the training it had in the past. And now it is one of the more trending technology that has changed the way we see AI, that is deep learning, a machine learning techniques which has layers of neural network. It's trying to replicate what brains can do. Brain have a lot of neurons, right? That's what this particular field area of study do. It's about making large layers of neural networks, and it process data and take decisions. So it's one of the more advanced AI model, I would say, or AI field. And then comes the generative AI that we are seeing in nowadays completely. It's about creating new content, visual, audio, even video. We see that using just a prompt. You write a prompt on your chat GPT model, and you get a response based upon the whatever you are writing. It's completely changed. Imagine how we have started in 1956, and it took us 2020, now we are in 2021 or 2022. 2021, the first time generative AI has been come into the picture. People started talking about that because of OpenAI as a company. Microsoft has collaborated with them, and Microsoft invested long back, I think in 2006 or something, uh, into OpenAI as a company. Then with the increase into the model, or increase into the GPU capacity, model is able to perform better. It started with GPT-1. No one have used it. Then GPT-2, 3. Then we have started. First time it was launched at GPT 3.5. Then now we are using 4.0 or 4.0 mini. We are using more advanced generative AI model nowadays. So that's what generative AI is capable of. And that is how the complete layer of artificial intelligence, how it started in the past and how it's going currently. It's mattered. Before we go and talk about Azure service, it's very critical that we understand how things have happened in general AI models. Okay, so how you train your model and how you use to predict the future answer. So let's say there is a data set that you have, and that will be a label data, and you will pass that into your model. Just give me a minute. Yeah, so this is your data, and you will pass it into your training model, and then based upon the model, you will have a model created. Then you will have a, based upon the data that you have, you will break it into a testing data, because you want to test, once the model will be trained, you want to test it, right, whether the prediction is coming correctly or not. Here for this data also, you will know the answer already. The label you will know already, but you will not add it in a real world scenario. First you will let the trained model predict your label. It could be like, okay, a simple example could be, let's say there is thousands of image on which you have trained your AI model to tell whether that image is a banana or a apple. Now your model is trained, and you trained based upon giving the image the label, whether it's banana or whether it's apple. Now it's trained. You have testing data for which you already know the answer, but you will not tell the AI model. You will let AI model to predict that, okay, whether it's predicting correctly or not. Then once your model will be trained, you will pass that testing data, and you will see what the validation label it's giving, whether it's giving apple a apple or it's giving apple a banana. And you will validate this with the already existing label that you have. And if the model is, let's say, because model is nothing, it's like I would say a score, a prediction score, probability that whether it's 90% correct or 100% correct or 95% correct. So that's what AI can do. It will tell you that, okay, 99% I'm sure that it's Apple, or 95% I'm sure that it's AI. So, sorry, it's banana. So that's how you train your AI model and you validate. And once you are satisfied how your AI model behave, or whether the model is responding correctly, you can publish that model and let the new data, whatever the new data that will be coming into the future, it will go through the model and it will create a prediction that okay, this is what the output will look like. It will tell it whether that image is apple or whether that image is banana. I'm just giving a simple example to understand, but it could be very complex. That okay, real time images from, let's say, self-driving car, where it will tell that okay, whether I have to click on a brake or I have to click on accelerator. So these type of decisions also taken by AI models only. So this is how the complete AI life cycle look like. It's just a generic overview to help you understand how the AI model life cycle work in a real world scenario. But it depends upon scenario to scenario. I was giving example of classification model, which help you distinguish between whether it's an apple or a banana. But model can be clustering, or it could be supervised, unsupervised learning. They could be different model altogether. So based upon the use case, we understand which type of AI model is better suited for my scenario. Before we start using the AI or start using especially the Azure AI, it's very critical to understand the responsible AI and ethics principle that was designed by Microsoft. Because when you are using AI, being a developer or even just a user, it's very critical that we understand the use of responsible use of AI. Because a small, I would say, negligence can create a big problem into the software industry or a complete organization. So let's start with learning responsible AI. Then we will go into more hands-on part and understand how you can start using this AI services that it's there into Azure. First, start with fairness, right? AI model should be fair with everyone. It should be treat everyone equally, whether it should not bias people based upon gender, demography, or any such type of factor, right? Example, I was talking this example yesterday also. Let's say you are building an AI model that is going to tell whether a person is going to get a loan or not. Okay, that is, you are, let's say you are developing this for XYZ bank company, and imagine that model take consideration of gender, take consideration of the origin place, or these type of biased information to predict the model. It will be, I would say, not being fair with everyone. It will be not fair with every part of the society, and it can create a big problem altogether. You can imagine, right? Some people is eligible for the loan, but it is not able to get the loan because your AI model is not fair enough. It is partial for some specific people or some specific, I would say, diversity, right? So this type of problem AI model can create. But how you can make sure that it should not happen is training on a correct data. Let's say the model you are training, the data that you are using to train your model, if that has a bias, then the AI will learn from that data itself, right? AI will use that data to learn itself. And if that is bias itself, it will also be biased, right? It's expected. So that's where being we as an AI engineer or AI developer, we should understand the data and we should test our AI model after created in vast scenario. That okay, whether it's working in this scenario or not, whether it's working correct in this scenario or not, you should test it thoroughly, completely you should test it. And that's what fairness is all about. Your AI model should be fair with everyone. It should not discriminate based upon gender, based upon geography, based upon demography, anything. Based upon these factors, it should not discriminate people. Reliability and safety. Today, AI is getting used in every field, and it's very critical that it should be reliable, it should be safe enough to use it. Because imagine that AI is getting used into field like self-driving car, where the stake of a person who is sitting in a car is on stake, right? If your car is not press the brake on the correct time, that person may get injured. So how much safety is required into the AI industry? You can imagine just by example that. Other example could be in healthcare, where let's say AI model based upon the tests or based upon the all the information that you have given, it predicts, let's say, the prescription that you have to take. And let imagine that AI model is not correct in that scenario. It will prescribe you something different for some different disease. What a big problem it can create. So that's why it's very important that we understand, we as a developer of AI model, we understand whether it's reliable and whether it's safe or not to use in a real world scenario, and how you can validate it with all these edge cases. It's very critical. Other thing is privacy and security, because you know that, right? AI model is trained or getting used on huge amount of data. It need huge amount of data, whether you're talking about generative AI model or even old machine learning or deep learning models. It was trained upon huge amount of data. But when we talk about data, there will be information like PI, your let's say Aadhaar card number or your PAN card number. You don't want to train your model on those information. So how your AI model is safe enough to hide those information and not use those information to train a model? Or even, let's say, even in a real world scenario, when the model is already trained, when you pass information, let's say future information, it use that also to future for the future training as well. Even for that scenario, it should not use the PI based information. Otherwise it will be a problem, right? Based upon, because it will have the PI information, and based upon all this compliance, HIPAA, or we talk about a lot of compliance, it will not pass, your AI model will not pass those compliance, right? So it's very critical that our model, or being a developer, we should understand the importance of privacy and security in AI. Inclusiveness, as we know that whatever we create, it should be inclusive to everyone. It should not be like, okay, it's specific for specific gender or specific for it should not be biased also. So that's where AI models should be included, for inclusive for everyone, anyone. AI should be accessible for anyone, whether it's a farmer in a small village of India to an entrepreneur in working in Bangalore or the Silicon Valley in US, something. It should be inclusive enough. Transparency, it's very important that even being a software developer, we should be transparent, or being an organization, we should be transparent enough to our user to tell that, okay, what this AI model can do, what is its flaws, what is its I would say pros and cons about this model, what is the probability of prediction of this model, how much percentage is correct, or what are the edge cases where maybe it could not give the correct answer. We should be transparent enough to tell this into our model or into our document, especially that, okay, this model is do this, it is not suitable for this scenario, it is suitable for this scenario, it is 99% correct or 95% correct, so that your user should understand that, okay, how much they can trust or depend upon the AI model. Accountability, it's very critical. Being we as a developer or organization, we should understand or take accountability of the AI model that we create. It's very important that based upon all the scenario that we have discussed earlier, fairness, reliability and safety, privacy and security, inclusiveness, transparency, we should test this thoroughly after the model is deployed, so that before going into the market, we at least we should have the complete understanding, and we should take the accountability of the scenario it will coming in the future. You will be seeing a lot of questions about responsible AI in the exams, whether you will be going to give AI 102 or AI 900. Even in interviews, organization want to understand your stand on this particular topics, because definitely they want to build a model, but they want to build trust with the companies who is going to use this particular model, and how they can trust the organization, how they will trust whether you are following this responsible AI principle or not. So organization, when they hire new engineers, developer, even you could not be an AI engineer, even being a developer, if the organization know that, okay, you are going to work with AI day to day in your day to day work, they will ask you questions, your stand on these responsible principle. So it's very important that you should understand it very thoroughly, and feel free to ask any questions if you have in the chat. We will go to the chat section maybe later. Now we understand the responsible AI principal. We are now a responsible AI developer, or I would say user. So now we can go ahead and start using the AI service. For that, there are different services that that Azure AI offers. There is a one section that you are seeing is completely on natural language processing, whether it's a text analysis, question answering, language understanding, translation, name entity recognition, custom text classification, speech translation. Think about it. This is what your natural language processing model is capable of in Azure. You can use any of this model based upon your scenario. We have the complete session on natural language processing. We'll talk about more into natural language processing, how each of these model you can use in your day-to-day work, how you can create projects on top of that. We are going to talk in this specific session of natural language processing in future. Then there is a section, there is a complete section of knowledge mining and document intelligence, where we will talk about AI search, how you can extract semantic data from the data that you have available. We'll talk about document intelligence, custom document intelligence, and custom skills. We also have a dedicated session for this, where we will cover this particular aspect of AI, Azure AI services. We have a computer vision section. Maybe the next session that is going to be on computer vision, where we talk about image analysis, video analysis, image classification, object detection, facial analysis, optical character recognition, and Azure AI video indexer. These are some vision based services that are available into Azure that you can use based upon your use cases. Then we have decision support, we have content safety, we have content modernization. This is also our future session that we are going to cover. Then our last section in this complete bootcamp is going to be on Azure AI services, Azure OpenAI services, and DALI image generation, where we will talk about OpenAI services, ChatGPT that you know about. We'll talk about that, DALI. This is going to be the last session that we are going to cover. So if you see, right, this much of services, I'm just giving the overview. There could be more services when you go on a portal. This is what the complete length and breadth of services that Azure offer to you. So you have this much of option to get and start using that. Even if you know, right, these are already trained model. You don't have to train it from scratch. The model is already selected. You just have to give your own data and use it based upon your use cases. And we are going to show you how you can do that in our real world scenarios. Okay. Yeah. So this is about the complete type of AI services that is available into Azure. How you can provision an Azure AI services. So there are two broader category of services that way how you can utilize the AI services. One is single service instance, another is multi-service instance. Okay, single service instance means that for each service, let's say you want to use vision, you want to use let's say document intelligence, you're going to create separate service, separate service for each of your use cases. What is the benefit of this particular model is it has a free tier. So for most of the services in a single service instance, you have free tier. So let's say you are a developer or maybe just a college student who just want to test the resources, or you want to just use it for your project, you can create this and you will not get cost anything for the free SKU. And what is the other benefit of single service instance is that for each service, you are going to have a separate endpoint and separate access key. So using, let's say you created a a vision service for text analysis. So you are going to only get the endpoint or use that endpoint only for vision based services or vision service. Same you can create, let's say for something like speech, that is going to be complete different endpoint or complete different access key. I'm going to talk more about what the endpoint is or access key is. Now, as you can think about endpoint is the URL that you are going to use into your application to use the AI services that you have created into Azure. Access key is the key that you are going to pass into your application and tell that, okay, I am the legitimate user, because endpoint can get compromised. Anyone can get your endpoint from your let's say code. So anyone will able to exploit your resources. That's where it's very important that we should keep our access key safe. Another benefit is that for each service you are going to have separate service, separate billing altogether, so that you will understand, okay, for vision I'm getting cost this much, for let's say uh, knowledge mining I'm getting cost this much. So you'll better able to consolidate your billing or separate your billing based upon different use cases. And another benefit is for single instance service, all full range of Azure services, that Azure AI services that you have seen, it's available. So you can just go and start using any of the services, create that service and start using that. What is the multi-service instance on the other hand? This is the place where you will create a single instance of the service and you will able to use all those services, whether it's Azure AI Vision, Azure AI Speech, Azure AI Language, from a single endpoint and the key. Imagine that from a single URL or single endpoint, you will able to use all these AI services, especially I would say most of the AI services, because there are a couple of services that you cannot use using multi-service instance. Okay, so most of the services you can use it from the single endpoint and the single key. So being you as a developer, you have to manage less number of keys, less number of endpoint. From a single endpoint you'll able to do everything. It has only paid SKU, so there is no free SKU when it comes to Azure multi-service instance. A single, as I said, a single shared endpoint and set of access keys that you can use for all these model, whether it's vision, whether it's speech, whether it's language, and you can use that. And all these service will be consolidated billing option, that all the bills will be consolidated as a single AI billing, so that you don't have to separately see all this billing or apply restrictions, all these services. You can do everything on a single instance altogether, a single service altogether. But there is some I would say restrictions, that some of the services is not available as part of multi-service instance. So that's where you have to use single instance, single service instance for those services which are not available. Okay, now it's exciting part. You understand what artificial intelligence is, how Azure AI services offers, what all the services it offers, and more importantly, you understand the responsible AI principle. Now you are a responsible developer, responsible AI user. So now you are ready to start using the AI services in your day-to-day application or day-to-day use case. So now let me take you to the Azure portal, where we will see how you can start using the AI services, what all the things we have talked about already, where you can see that. So this is my portal, Azure portal. It is portal.azure.com. If you are a college student, you can search Azure for free. For students, you can search, okay, and your college ID, you will able to get $100 for free, and with that, it will be enough to complete this complete boot camp. Because a lot of the things we are going to use, it is free tier, couple of things are paid, so you can decide what you want to use, but within $100 you will able to cover everything. So if you are a student, you can utilize this particular resource as well. So now I am in Azure portal to search for, you can see there are tons of services that it can offers. You can see it from here. I can just you can see here also, I can go to home, I can go to my dashboard, I can click on all services, and it will open me complete set of services. If you see here how many services you have available into Azure, the list just goes on and on and on, and you can see all this section. Here if you see go to AI and machine learning section here, you will see what all the services AI offers. These are services that AI offer. You can also search from here. I will search for AI services. Yes, if you see here, Azure AI services comes, and I will go on overview. You can see here as well all these services, whether AI search, computer vision, face API, custom vision, speech service, document intelligence, bot, content safety, healthcare, everything you can see. Here is, you can see Azure OpenAI services, what you call as Chat GPT. You can create the same model based upon your own data, your own use case. You can create your own OpenAI services as well. You can see I have already OpenAI services that is already created. I will go here, but we have talked about, right? Uh, there are a vast variety of AI services that are available. You can see it from here, whether it's Azure AI Services, OpenAI, Search, Computer Vision, Natural Language Processing, Bot, question and answer. All these services are available for you. So, being a developer, it's your responsibility to understand which is the service that is really required for your use cases, because there will be a lot of overlap, that okay, particular service can be used in a multiple scenario, or in a scenario that you have, there could be multiple service that can fit into that, but you have to understand which is fitting best in your scenario. So that's where you need to understand all these services. With this complete bootcamp, you will be able to know most of the services and how you can use it in your day-to-day life. Okay, so let's start with creating a multi-instance or a single instance services. We talked about, right? You can create a multi-instance service or a single instance service. So here you can see a multi-instance service, Azure AI service, multi-service instance, right? So here, as we talked about, you can create a single service and you can use it for multiple services. You can use it for vision, you can use it for, let's say, language, and you can do as much things as possible. Okay, so let's start with creating a new multi-service instance. Okay, I will create a new resource group. Resource group are just isolation in Azure to keep a similar type of services. So this is a bootcamp. I'm going to name it AI 102 live bootcamp, so that later I can delete it all at once. Okay, I will give it again the name the same, AI bootcamp live. I will select the tier as standard as 0. As you can see that right here, there is no free tier available. As we talked about that in a multi-tier instance, there will be no free tier. I can click on acknowledge that I understand the responsible AI principle. You can see all this document is given here. We should understand the responsible AI principle before getting started using Azure services. But we as a user, we already did that, right? We understand about all this AI principle, so that we are good to go. I will click on next. Here is the network option where you can where you can set whether you want to include it for everyone, or you want to keep it for, let's say, specific subnet, where you want whether a specific set of application can only use this service. So you can use a network or configuration, network VNet configuration, to store your AI services. You can also disable it so that no one can access it. You will later maybe create service endpoint or private endpoint to access this service. Next, identity, you can, for now, we will not go into that because we have later section on this. And I will go ahead and click on review and create. Now it's validating everything, and I will click on create to create the Azure AI multi-instance service. Okay. Till the time we go, let it deploy, I will see if there is any question in the chat. Yeah. So someone asked, sir, please can you tell us about this training a model on a data set? Yes. So we are in a later section, because now, as of now, we wanted to just give you overview that how you can train your model on a on AI life cycle. But we are going to have a dedicated content or dedicated session. I'm going to take it, that is on generative AI. I will tell you how you can create your own generative AI model and train it on your own data set. So we have a dedicated session for this, and we will talk complete depth how you can bring your AI data and how you can use it for your day-to-day scenario. Okay, someone asked me, can you increase the font size? Okay, just give me a second. Sure, I can do it. I think service is already deployed. I can go into. So now it has there are multiple sections here, and inside the multi-service instance, you can see it. You have multiple options. You can use it for decision. This is the decision matrix where you can use it. You have the language services. You can use it for language use cases. You can use it for text and speech. You can use the same AI model for vision. You can use it for document intelligence and metrics advisor. Okay, as well as you can deploy it on its own container. So here you can see it, right? That for a single service, from a single service, you can do all those AI concepts, or you can understand or learn or create your model from a single endpoint. That's what benefit of AI is. And this will be the endpoint I was talking about earlier. So this is the endpoint that you will be making call to for all these use cases. You will append the URL for, let's say, text analytics, language translation, and you will be able to use the same model for all these use cases. Okay, here is the key and the endpoints. Here you will be seeing this endpoint again and the keys. These are the key that will help you to tell that, okay, you are a legitimate user while using it into your application. Okay, so you should be understanding this particular concept, that you have to make the keys safe. You should not publish it on your GitHub, just keeping your keys, because it can be used, or it can get your system can get hacked because of that. Your application can get hacked because of that, because user is now able to use your key and your endpoint to make unlimited call into your application, and you are going to get cost for that. So you need to be make sure that your keys are safe. It should not go to anyone hand. But you can see that right here are two keys, key 1 and key 2. Can anyone tell me what could be the reason of having two keys? Why we need two key here? I will go through the chat later, but I want to see this answer. Maybe we'll cover that in a later section. So this is how your AI I would say multi-service instance account AI service, like a single instance AI service as well. I will search for AI service, Azure AI service, and I can go and create a specific service as well. Let's say I will use. So this service is going to be used only for speech scenario. I cannot use for other use cases, but with multi instance, I can use it for XYZ number of scenario. And here, if you see, as we said, you have a free tier available as well, so that you should not get cost while using it. It will be free of cost. Here, the same thing, network identity. I'm just going to click on review and create because we don't want to change anything here. Now this is getting validated. And now service creation has started. So now this service is going to be used for only for speech scenario, where it will we can use this particular endpoint only for speech. And you can see, right, within couple of seconds, you have a speech service created for you, and you can start using that. I can go to speech studio and I can use it for a real speech scenario. I can use it for a testing purpose, or I can add a speech mechanism in my own application. And here you can see within the AI speech, you have multiple option. You can caption that speech to text. You can use video translation. You have real-time speech to text. Okay, so let's say I will use maybe United States. I will either I can record my speech, or I can upload a, let's say, video or audio file here. So let's say I will speak. Maybe it will not take because I'm already using the model here, and my headset is getting used for this speech. But you can see here it's telling what I am speaking. Hello everyone, how you are doing, and it's in real time. It is converting my speech, whatever I am telling, into a caption. You can see it. It's a live example of how AI can be used into your real world application. Imagine that you are building a video streaming platform and you want a way how you can use auto caption, or let's say you have website where you publish the movies of new movies and all. You can use this particular model, or you can make call to this particular model. It will convert whatever the speech or speech in the video it will see or hear, and convert it into the caption altogether. That's what the real use case is, and it is getting used, right? If you see today's all these captioning or applications that are available or in a real video streaming platform, whether Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hotstar, you see today behind the scene it use AI model. There's no one sitting there just to do the caption, right? For the video, definitely there will be a person who is going to validate it on a real world, but it is getting created real time using AI models only. So this is one of the example, but there could be multiple. You can see it. There are lots and lot of options that are available for just a single service, that is speech. In a speech itself, you have this much of options that are available, and you can use it for your day-to-day life. Okay. I will go back. And here also, if you see, there will be key and endpoint. So this is one of the this studio is only for the testing, and for the testing purpose you want to test all this feature. But in a real world application, right, you are going to make a call to this endpoint, and you are going to use the keys to validate yourself or to authenticate yourself. So this is about AI Studio, single service instance and multi-service instance. So let's use it in a real world scenario. Let's see how we can use it in our real world scenario. I'm going to show one of the example that is there in Microsoft Doc itself. Just give me a minute. Let me share that you are in the chat so that you can also do that. Once you have the time, you can also go through it, and you can also perform that whatever the use cases or the lab scenario I'm showing, you can perform it at your end as well. So this is the document where there are lots of labs that are available or use cases that are available. You can use it. Let me just share in the chat, or maybe I will just share in the chat and the team will share with you guys later. So I just shared it. So here you will see there are a lot of lab scenario that are available. How to use AI services, Azure AI security service, monitoring, use as a container. So this is from the module one, what all we are covering today. So these all are the services that are available, and you can use it. Yeah, if you see here, these all are the modules. You can click on, let's say, AI services. You will already have the code in C Sharp and Python. I'm more into Python side, so I will go into Python. You have option to either use it as a REST client, or you can use with the Python SDK as well. So you can click on Python SDK. You will have the code that is written, and you can use it for with your AI model. So I have already cloned this repository into my local. I will bring it here. Just give me a minute. Yes, so I have already cloned this repository, and my model is already here. So you can see all these labs, that is lab 1, lab 2, lab 3. You can use it as you want. We are going to show a couple of them to you, but you can use as much all of them with your time. Okay, so we'll start with first one, that is use Azure AI Services, and since I am a Python person, I like to work in Python. I will start with Python. Okay, there are multiple options that you can see here. Either you can run your code as a REST client, or you can run it as a SDK. Okay, so I am going to REST client first, and maybe we'll show SDK later. Okay, so this is how the code is written. So let me explain you the code. We are trying to import library from where we will able to make use of AI services. Then we are writing a function that is defmen. We are taking value from API key and endpoint, right? Key and the endpoint. As I talked about earlier, right? To make call to Azure AI services, we need key and the endpoint. So this is the API endpoint, which it will make a call, and API key. From where it's taking? It is taking from, let me just open it. It is taking from the env variable. So here, if you see in the same file, I have the env variable, environment variable. Okay, in the code. Now see what is happening behind the scene. Uh, yeah, just a minute. Yeah. So here it's trying to see if whether it's able to load or not. So it's a try and catch block. Here it's running a while loop until unless we are click on quit. Uh, it will keep on using the text. So it is asking for input, enter your text. Okay, until unless you are writing quit to stop, and it is converting into lowercase. So let's say anything you will enter for quit, it will convert into the lowercase, and it is passing that into a function known as get language. So basically what this function do is it will take the whatever the text that you will write and see the language. It will convert it into the specific language. It will tell you that okay, which language it is, whether it's in English, whether it's in French or it's German, which language it is based upon the text that you have entered. What it's doing here, if you see here, it's the in the function get language, it is taking the JSON input that you have, and then it's passing that value to the JSON body, and it's printing that the value what you have entered, this JSON body value, it will print, and then it will create the URI. So URI you will be the API endpoint. Okay, from the API endpoint, it will create the URI, and it will concatenate with the client HTTP connection, and it will pass the URL, the URI that we have for uh, our multi-instance service URL. Okay, and it will, and here it's running the call, it's doing the REST API call to get the language, and if the response is successful, it will print you the language it detected. So here from the document value, whatever coming as a result, it will print you the value. Okay, and then the function will be called. So this is how the complete flow will look like. In the env variable, you can see I have passed the my endpoint URL and my access key. So if I will go into the portal, I can go to my multi-instance service. I will go to portal again, and I will go to my source group. I will go to my the services where I have created. This is my AI service, and if you see here, this is the endpoint. Let it load. This is the endpoint that I am passing, and this is the value of the key. So that's all changes I have to make. I am just passing the endpoint and the key, and the code is already available from the Microsoft Learn. You can see it, and I will pass it my API key and the value, and it will try to generate the language, or whether we are able to get the language from the AI model or not. Okay, based upon the text that we have entered. Okay. Yes, let me run this code. So let's say for maybe for a lot of person, you don't have pip install for .env, so you can install it. For me, it's already installed. I will just run it and show it whether it's running, whether I have everything required or not. So if you see, it is telling that requirement already satisfied. So I already have Python .env extension installed already. Okay, now I have to run my code. My code is inside this. I have this rest client.py. Okay, so I will write Python. So now it's asking me to give you enter any language. So let's say I will just start with hello. I will write hello and see if it's able to understand the language or not. So it is the, if you see from the response, this is what the JSON it's storing. This is the value, right? This is the JSON it's generating. It's storing the value that you have entered, and then here it is converting the output. The document output is generating this, and the end, right? You can see the language. So basically, what it's doing, the based upon the text that you have entered, it is able to tell the language, in which language it is. Let me just search hello in French because I don't know. Okay. It only convert English language, or it's only able to understand English, or it can understand other languages as well. And if you see here, it's able to understand, it's in French. Imagine the capability you will able to add it when you are going to use it in your day-to-day world or day-to-day applications. Real time, it's completely real time. And if I have to close it, I will just click on quit, and it will it will end. Because if you see here in the loop, what I'm doing, the while loop is running till I am writing quit. So as soon as I write quit, my application will stop. It is very simple. If you see, using the AI services, you just have got the input. You have already pre-trained model. You don't have to train it on large amount of, let's say, text data, because behind the scene what it had been done, it had been trained upon lot of data in multiple languages altogether. Then only based upon the text that we are entering, it's able to tell that, okay, it's a French, or it's in English, or it's in German. It's trained already on huge amount of data. So now you don't have to train it, this model. You can just use the API and the endpoint, your endpoint and the key, and use it in a real world scenario for your application. This is this powerful altogether, that you just have to use the endpoint and the key, and model is already trained for you. You can just utilize it based upon your own use cases. You can put this code into your application, already existing application. Maybe you have a scenario where you want to see which language your user is speaking or which language he is typing. You can do it in real world scenario. This is a great example of how AI can solve a real world problem. Now, around you, you can think about what problem with the language that is there. A simple example I can give you is one of the startup that's completely booming in India, Bhashni, whether you know it or not. Yesterday, I also talked about that. It's a great tool that is dedicated behind the scene. It uses this endpoint only, and it convert languages in Indian local language, in Hindi to Marathi, Hindi to Tamil or XYZ language. It's doing that in a real world scenario. We Indians are diversified. We have multiple language that comes with lot of opportunities for us to build solution to solve real world problem. Imagine there is a farmer sitting in a small village of India. They are not able to get update about the what they can do more about the farming, or what all the benefit government offer for their farming, what type of loan they can get, um, what type of opportunity that government offer to them. Because the everything that comes on internet, it comes on English, and that person, that farmer, maybe only know Hindi. Think about this solution. It can just take all this scheme from the website of India, from government of India, convert it into local language, and share that through WhatsApp or through messages to all the farmers or to all the people who are interested in to know in local language. This is one of the problems that you can solve for the people who feed us, who help us to eat every day in our life. It's our responsibility that we feel how we can help them as well in using the technology or the services tools that we have access to. And that's what we as a human can do. We can help each other grow. Because of them we are able to eat. Now we are in a technology. It's our responsibility that we can think how we can help them to maybe earn more, or utilize the opportunity that government offer to them. It could be a problem solving scenario. in this world. And there is a lot of opportunity being in India, especially because of lot of diversification that we have, lot of languages we speak, complete different demographic we have. You at the same time you have sea, you have mountains, everything we have. So think about the problem that you can solve using these AI models. It's very critical that we can think in this perspective. That's what I wanted to show. There is at the same time you have the option to run the model using Python SDK as well. If you see here, Python SDKs are like more, I would say, language specific. HTTP or REST client, like anyone which can talk in HTTP or HTTPS, they can use REST client. SDKs are specific to a language. Here you can see this is specific to a Python. And if you use SDK, your code become more easy. Okay, if you see here, you are just importing the libraries, you are getting the keys. This is the input function, and in the language function, it's become more simpler. You are just passing the credential, API key credential, making the text analytics client. You are making a call to that, passing the API endpoint and the key. You are just passing that variable into the already existing function. That's a text analytic client. And what it will do, it will generate the language document and it will return only the language for you. Okay. So to run it, maybe let me just show it also this one. I will open this into terminal. So yeah, this is now opened. Okay, let me take the. So now I'm into SDK client folder. Now I will run the code from the SDK. So first I have to install the imports, whatever the import we have. Okay. So text analytics client, we have to install that. So it's a pip function that we can run, pip install Azure AI Analytics, text analytics. And you can see it here. Since it's already installed, you are seeing that requirement already satisfied. Okay. Now to run this, I will just run the Python file. So I will type Python. And it is asking me to type the language. Okay. Sorry, type the any word. And if you see here, the language is generated. You can see the language here as in the output. Let me see if I can write any other language content also. Let me see if I can use this. Okay. And you can see this. It is in Spanish. It is telling me the language. So this is how AI is capable of. You can see it in a real world scenario, how you can use it in your day-to-day application or day-to-day use case and solve a real world problem. I will just write quit to quit it. And using SDK, it become more simpler, but you can use either SDK or a client based upon your own use cases or the application you are trying to build. You can decide which one is most suitable for your use cases. I will just go ahead with presentation. We have a lot to cover, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask into the chat. We will go to the chat again in the later part. So demo part is done. Now we started using the AI services, right? We see that what AI can offer you in terms of you can create multi-service instance, you can create single service instance, and you can use it for XYZ multiple use cases. You can fetch the language, you can convert your speech to text in a real world scenario. It could be a movie industry where you want to convert movie into caption into, let's say, multiple language. Let's say movie is published into English and you want to publish it, bring it to in Hindi, in Tamil, in French, in German. You can use this captioning model. You can use the text to speech to convert speech to text. Sorry, speech to text to get the caption in a real world, in complete real time. And this is one of the real use cases of the AI services. You are seeing this in your day to day use cases or day to day scenario. It's very critical that you as a developer, or even you are a college student, you think about a problem around you using these use cases and come up with a solution. Discuss with us if you have any thought or anything you want to discuss with us. Feel free to reach out to me. Would love to discuss with you, because at the end, as we said, right, there are a lot of swags is specific for the people who will come up with some innovative idea to solve. Maybe you will not able to solve, maybe you will take more time. For us, more important is you are trying to solve a real problem that is there into the industry, and that will not only help you to win this particular challenge through the boot camp, but help you grab a job opportunity, grab internship opportunity in real world. And I have seen this happening. I have seen this happening to me. A lot of the people I mentor, I have seen this happening to them as well. It's a great opportunity for you to think about a problems now and try to solve it. Now we are done with that part. Now we are coming to securing Azure AI services. Now we are using the AI services. As you can see, it's very critical to make this AI services secure, because we talked about, right, privacy and security, accountability. We talked about all these factor of responsible AI. How you going to make your AI services secure? Because this AI model that you maybe that is going to be used, it will be having your enterprise data. It is going to have data from your enterprise applications. How you going to make it secure that no one else can access it? So there are multiple authentication way, as well as you have network security options that are available, that you can use it to make your application or make your AI solution secure. One option is regenerate keys. Earlier, I asked you a question, right? Um, why there are two keys that are available? This is available because of this purpose only. So let's say you have an application running, and you have one key, and since after some time you may think that, okay, this key can get compromised or it is getting used by a lot of people. What you can do, you can regenerate that key. But at that particular time, when you will be regenerating the key, your application will not able to access your AI model, right? It will be a downtime for your application. So how you can prevent that? Since you have a two key at a time, you can use one key, regenerate the other one. Then you can use the new generated key and regenerate the older one. That's why you have a two keys that are there for the endpoints, so that at a time you can use one key and you can regenerate the other one. Sorry, and other thing is protect. Still, if you see, right, the regenerate key, when you're talking about, still we are passing this key right into our code. Do you think it is a safer way? The example that I showed you, I have a env file where I'm passing my key and my endpoint, right? Do you think it will be a safe way? Now you all guys have seen my keys and the endpoint, right? You will able to make a call to that endpoint. Definitely I'm going to delete that service or regenerate the key after the session, but you will able to do it, right, if you want to. And you will able to access my endpoint or my application without being an authorized user. Because since I'm uploading my key directly into the code, I'm hard coding it. It's not a safe way to do a enterprise application. Maybe for a demo it's okay, but for a real world application it's not a safer way. So how you gonna make your key secure? How you gonna store it securely so that you don't have to pass it into your application altogether? That's where Azure Key Vault as a service comes into the picture, where you can store the secrets, keys without directly passing into your application, and you can reference your application or your code to access the key from the key vault. And you will use service principal to grant access to your key vault of your applications, as well as how key vault is able to fetch the keys from your OpenAI services. You can do all these things, but the benefit will be your key, you don't have to enter it into your real world application, and it will be secure enough. Another is token based authentication. A lot of AI services come with token based authentication. What it do is, as soon as you pass your API key and the endpoint, it will generate a token. It is called as bearer token. It will be valid for 10 minutes, and all the next call or all the consecutive call, you have to generate the bearer token and pass it to be a valid user. It will be another layer of authentication that you can add into your application. Another is Microsoft Intra ID authentication. Now Azure AI services, most of the services have a Microsoft Intra authentication, where you can use managed identity or user based identity to authorize services or specific user to access the AI services or application to access the AI services without explicitly using the key or the endpoint, explicitly using the key or passing the key to your application. Everything you can do using authentication. Okay. So another part is network security. How this is on the authentication part. Authentication is one of the key part. The second part of securing your AI services is network security. While creating the Azure services, you see that, right? I have opened it for everyone. While creating in the network section, I selected all networks should be allowed. But if let's say it's an enterprise application and it's going to be used by my, let's say, only specific service, that is going to be my enterprise services only or enterprise use cases only, I will not open it to all the users or open it on the internet. I will only open for a specific subnet or specific VNet or a specific IP range, I can say, so that only those IP range or only application from those subnet or VNet can able to access my services. And you have this flexibility into Azure that you can do. Another thing is firewall. You can specify, okay, from this IP range to this IP range, if the request is coming, you allow, otherwise you deny the request. You can do these parts as well. Then you can, maybe you cannot want to allow to any of the VNet. You can make it complete private, and you can allow private endpoint connectivity to, let's say, specific VNet or specific subnet or specific service principal or service to access your AI services. That's what capability Azure AI services provide you, and this all flexibility to make your AI system secure, and so that your enterprise or your organization trust the AI services. Now let's go to the demo and see how these things can be done into a real world scenario. Okay, so I will go to the portal. I will go to my session, and if you see here, I have my AI services. I will go to the key and the endpoint. If you see, I have this key. Okay, I can click on show key, and you can see this is the key. Okay, it start with C3 and all. Okay, but now I understand that maybe my key get compromised. How I can do? Maybe my key one get compromised. What I can do is I can click on regenerate key one, and my application will keep on using key two, but my key one is going to be generated again. If you see here, now this key is completely different. It's a new key altogether. You can see it, right? And now your application will not able to access. Your application will not able to access the AI services using the older key. Okay. You can test this also. You can pass the key variable here, and now you can make a call, and it will fail. It will tell you and it will fail in a real world scenario. Okay, this is one way to make your system authenticate, to make your system more secure. You can generate or regenerate your key as much time as possible. And as you can see that I have used it for multiple times, and I want to make it secure. I have regenerated my both the key again. So this way, let's say every week or every month, I can regenerate my key again and make my environment more secure. This is one of the way to make your AI system more secure. But still, if you see, right, I still have to pass this keys into my application. If you see here, I am passing my key, I'm passing my service endpoint into my code. And let's say if I publish this code on internet or let's say GitHub, anyone will able to access that, right? Anyone will able to see that and able to access my AI services directly without being an authorized user. What else I can do? I can create a key vault service, and I will store this key into the key vault and make key vault access or make my application call to the key vault And behind the scene, key vault use my access key without making it visible into my code, so that it will be a more secure way. So I have already created one key vault services. I will go and create one more. I will select my live demo. I will give it live demo 102. Okay. I will select East US standard. I will reduce the day of retention to 7. We'll go to next account configuration. I will want to allow from um, vault access key because I want to show using my code. But maybe in a real world scenario, you will go with Azure role based access control, that is managed identity into Azure, where it is going to use managed identity behind the scene to access your services from your application. Okay. I wanted to show you how you can do it real world scenario. That's where I'm passing using a vault access policy. I want to enable it for all the network. Here you can see I am enabling for all the network. But if I want to make it secure, I can enable it for, let's say, selected network only. I will go on review and create, and I will create this service. Now my service is getting created. I will see if there is any question in the chat. It is in complete full mode only. I'm not sure why you are not able to see it. Okay, now you can see the key vault service is already deployed. Deployed, and I can now store my keys into my key vault. Here I can store it as a secret. I can click on generate or import. I want to import manually, so I will select manually. I will give it AI 102. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me take the key so that I can store it here. Okay, I will go back. This is my AI model. I'm going to use the key and the endpoint. So since the service is already created, I don't have to create the service. I'm going to take the key and I'm going to store it into my application, okay, into my key vault. So let me do it. Here I'm going to store it into my key, okay, into my key vault. I will go to my key vault. Here I'm giving it a name. I will give it a unique secret name. I will give it AI service key. Since I'm using this into the code, so I wanted to make it the same so that I can store it. Now I will take the key from here and I will store it as a value for the secret, okay? And I will click on create. And if you see, I have the key created. So now I can reference to this key instead of passing the key directly, that the endpoint, my service key directly. I can use my imported key value, okay? So So now how you can grant the access to your application to use this key to this particular service. For that, I will open my terminal. One great part about Azure is you can open the terminal into the portal itself. You can see it, it's open. Here, if you see, I will, okay, maybe I will paste it into the notepad and then so this code is already this steps is already available. Go back. Yes, in the instruction you have the exercise, so even you will able to follow from here as well. So you can see it here, and maybe in the later phase you can follow from here as well. Okay, so you will be seeing, okay, how to pass the key and the endpoint. Here, this is what we are doing. We have created the key vault service, and you are passing the API key. We are creating the service principal to give the your API or app access to the key vault. Okay, so that's what we are trying to do. Take it. I will go to my demo. I have to make little bit of changes here. I have to change the resource group name. I have created the new resource group, so I have to change the name with that resource group. This is my resource group name. I will take this name, the earlier one that you are seeing for the previous demo that I have did. So this is for that. Now I'm passing my own resource group name. Here I have passed my own subscription key. So let's see, if you will open any service, you will able to see the subscription key here only. So if you see, this is a subscription key. This is what I have passed here, and this is my resource group and the resource group name. Okay. Now it create the service principal. It will create the service principal for my key vault service, and it will grant access to this complete resource group altogether, so that anything in the resource group I am able to access using the service principal. And you should keep this safe. If you will close the tab, you will not able to access this. So it's very important that you should keep it safe. Okay, I will take this command, keep it with me so that I can use it in the future part as well. I will keep it here in my notepad. And then I have my ID key and generated. You can click on, you can do to show your ID as well. So I will just do that to show you how you can do it, and pass the ID. Okay, this is the app ID. You can pass it. So sometimes when you paste it, right, you can see it get added some extra, I would say text, okay, or extra symbol. Make sure that you should delete this, and you should keep in mind that, okay, it should not come. Otherwise, it will fail sometime. So it's very important that we should be very careful while copying and pasting the content from one place to another. If you see here, it generated everything. It showed me the ID that is required for me. Okay. So I will also keep this ID safe so that I can use it. This is my ID. I will keep it into my note. Okay. Now I have to assign this service principal to my key vault. Okay. So for that, I have to give my key vault name. Uh, I will go to my resource group. I will take the key vault that I have just created. So this is the key vault I have created. I will take its name and pass into the URL. and then I will pass the ID that I have got from the previous step. I will take it and I will pass it here. List. Now I can take it and I can run it. Okay. So I will go to my portal again. It. Yes, it should be here. So I'm trying to pass the correct object ID and the key so that whatever the service principal I have created, it should be assigned to the key vault in the that I have created in the past, right? So it should be assigned to that. See, so I am able to do that. My key vault has now access to use as a service principal. The service principal that we have created, it will able to access the key. And if you see right in the URL, what we have passed it to list to get the list, right? So it is able to get the key from the app from the key vault. So basically what I'm doing is I created a service principal, which you can understand is as a virtual user altogether, and I have given it access on this particular object ID, sorry, on this subscription key, sorry, on this key vault, and this is the object ID of my the app that I have created, and I'm granting it access to list the key so that it is only able to list the key and it is able to use that key into my application altogether. Okay, so I will again go to my code. If you see here, I will go to my code, and if you see, this is the second module, that is lab 2. Here you have see the environment. Okay, here if you see here, anywhere I'm not passing the key now. Here if you see, I'm not passing the key that I have originally created into my application, that is multi-tenant service that I have created. I'm not passing any key now. I'm passing the endpoint, I'm passing the key vault name, I'm passing the tenant ID, I'm passing the application ID and the password that I have created for this particular user. Even if we will use manage identity, the other one I have showed, we don't have to even pass this as well. The password, tenant ID, key vault, these things also we don't have to pass. But even this is much safer than directly passing the key vault, directly passing the key altogether. Okay. So now if you see, I'm go to the key vault. Now since I have passed all this detail, if you see my code, I will go to my code here. It is going to use, it is SDK code. So it's importing the key credential that we have already created. It is now accessing the library for key vault secret to get the key vault, and then Azure identity. So because we want to get the Azure identity here, so we want to fetch that information from the already existing module from Python SDK. Okay, and the code is pretty much same. We are taking the value and the key here. If you see API endpoint, key vault name, tenant, app ID, app password, but we are not passing the key that we used to do earlier. This is the key vault URL. It will create the whatever the key vault name we will pass. It will append it with the key vault.azure.net. So if you'll go to portal and if you see the your endpoint, this will be what vault.azure.net. It is what it is trying to create the complete URL. Since you are just entering the name, it will do everything for you. So you don't have to even pass the complete URL altogether. So this is what it's doing. It's taking again, it's running the same while loop, and it will to get the user text and to print the language. Okay, and it is what exactly it's doing. We have already seen what it can do. It will whatever the text you will enter, it will able to generate the response. But this time we are making it more secure. We are making it more secure that it should be only it should not use the key directly, because we want to make our AI application secure in real world scenario. So I will go to this module. I will install all this module because see earlier we were just using text analytics, but now we have to import the module for Azure Identity, Azure Key Vault, and those we haven't defined in the past, right? So if you see, I'm entering first for Azure AI Analytics. Since it's already installed, it will tell already satisfied. For you, when you will be doing for the first time, it will download this all this module into your Python so that you can directly use it. And this is what you are seeing. Again, the second one is also satisfied. This is pip install Azure Identity. Now I am running for Key Vault so that I can directly use those functions and I don't have to write the logic for everything from scratch. That's where using SDK is more user friendly in real world scenario. You just need to know the correct function. You can make a call and it will do the most of the heavy lifting from you. And if you see, this is already satisfied and my files is already installed. I can now run my code directly. So if let's say I will run Python Key Vault. Okay, so since I have regenerated the secret, so it's telling that okay, secret is regenerated. You see that right in the past step, I have regenerated the secret. So I have to maybe add the new secret again into my key vault. So the key vault that I have created, I have stored the old secret. So you can store the same secret again, and you will make a call, and it will able to generate the response whatever you have seen from the older code of your application. It will do the same thing. Just only difference what it's going to have is now you will not be passing the key directly into your code. So that's what behind the scene it's doing. You don't need to pass your complete code and you can use it for your without passing the key and make your environment more secure. Other thing what we wanted to show is how you can make it accessible only to specific users or specific subnet or vnet range. Okay. So for let's say I will open any of my services that I have created. So this is the Azure AI multi-tenant service that we have created. If I will go to networking here, if you see the section of networking, in the networking section, if we'll go, you have see here, right? I have enabled it for all the network. And that's where anyone from who have access to, let's say my key as well as endpoint, they will able to make a call. But let's say if you want to make it more secure, we can make it only accessible to a specific subnet. We can or a specific VNet. We can click on create new VNet from where we just want to make virtual network. We can select that here, or you can give it here. Let's say IP range, or let's say this is my current client IP. I can just click on this, and my application will be accessible, or my API will be only accessible from my client IP or the IP address that I have just entered here into the firewall. You can also have the private endpoint. You can create private endpoint and you can attach it to, let's say, any of the virtual network that is already there, so that your service can only get used from the specific services that you have decided. Maybe the virtual machine or maybe app service where your code is currently running. You can make sure that it should not be accessible from whole of the audience, but to specific users. That's what you can set it up into your AI services. Feel free to ask any questions, guys, if you have. Keep using your chat and we'll be glad to uh, help you with the questions. Okay, so keep asking your question. So this is pretty much everything about securing your AI services. There are multiple others way also, but overall in AI 102 exam, this is what they ask you, and this is what you can prepare for AI 102, or even for normal interviews also. This is what expected to know from any AI engineer or cloud AI engineer. So now, as you can understand, right, we are talking when we talk about AI services, what it's do behind the scene. So normal how AI services get hosted into Azure or how it get used into Azure. Behind the scene, it uses Azure services. let's say to run your AI services, it use data center. It needs GPU, it needs CPU, right? On top of which it will be running. From where it's getting? It's getting from Microsoft data center from a certain region. Maybe because when we created Azure service, right? We selected specific regions. We selected whether we want to keep it into East US, or we want to keep it into West US or Central India, and we decide based upon where our users are currently residing. Let's say if our application is running into India, it will better to use the data center in India so that there will be less latency possible. Okay, so this is how the normal scenario work like. If the users, let's say I have deployed my AI services into East US, but someone from India is trying to access, there will be latency, right? Because your request will traverse across the Microsoft backbone. It will go to uh, East US data center. It will fetch the information from there and then give it to you. It will add latency, right? And there could be scenario that sometimes some organization may have restrictions, because when we talk about AI, we are talking a lot about data. We are talking about how you can bring your own data, train your AI model, and use it for your own use case. But some companies, specifically government based companies or finance based company, they don't want to bring their data into the cloud ecosystem, right? They don't want to do that. They want to keep it into their own data center or their own on-prem environment. So how they can leverage this AI model in their day-to-day work? They can ship this. Azure has the option to ship this AI model as a container, as a Docker file or as a container file, that you can deploy it in your own container, whether in Docker or in Azure Kubernetes service or into Azure container instance or in your on-prem data center. You can run it on your Linux host or Windows host, whether you want, you can run it. And with that, what will happen? You now, your data is not coming into Microsoft Azure. Even you are just shipping the complete AI model into your on-prem environment so that your data should not come to cloud and you can still use this AI model. This is what the benefit of deploying your AI model comes in terms of container. So you can, yeah, you can outside of data center also you can run. So how you can do it? So let me take you to the portal. So to do that, you can create Azure Container Instance. Okay. So I already have AI services, so we don't need to create AI services. We can go ahead and create a container instance. Since this process take 15-20 minutes, for the time being, I have already created, but I will show you how you can do it. So you can click on create, and you can give your container a name. First, select the resource group, container a name. I will give it EZ102 live. East US, availability zone none, standard SKU, and I will keep it other registry. Now I can pass the Docker image file that can use for my AI model. Okay, so based upon which AI model I want, there is a AI images that is already there is images that is already available. You can directly import it. Let me show you how you can do it. So let me just open this link where I can show how you can bring. So if you see here, this is where you can see all these container images. You have all these services. You can click on, based upon which service you want to host it. You can click on images and it will open you the Docker image file that you can use for your artifacts. Okay. And it will explain about the code and you can directly use the code based upon your use cases. Okay. And use your application in your own data center rather than running your AI model into Azure. Even though you have to create the AI services into Azure, because Microsoft is going to bill you, they are giving you the AI build model completely. So they want to bill you, but your data is not going to come to Azure. It's going to be in your own data center only. So here I will pass one of the model that is already there. I will use here. I can pass it the complete URL. If you see here, it will pass it. I can select the CPU size, GPU, everything, whatever I can do. I can give it, I have to give a label. I will give it I102 live, and instead of port 80, I want to give 5000 because I want to available it on internet. I can give it 5000. Monitoring advanced section, I have to pass the API key and the API endpoint and the key, because how this model will know which AI service or container will know which AI service I am connecting to. For that, we have to pass the key and the value. So I will just take it, pass the API key and other values, billing. This should be secure, should be yes. And I have to, sorry, this should be no. I have to pass the API key and the endpoint. So to do that, I will go to the portal. I will take the AI model that I have already created. This is my AI model. Sorry, this is my AI model. I will go to the key and the endpoint. And this is the key and the endpoint. So I will take the endpoint and I will pass into the billing. Sorry, I didn't copy it. Let me just take it again. Yes, it's there. Now I will paste it, the key, the billing endpoint. Now I need the key. So I will take the key and I will pass it. Now the key and the endpoint is passed. And here I should accept the terms. Okay. And I can go ahead and review and create. So with this, I can host my AI services on my own data center, on my own hardware. I wanted to say on container instance, but it could be any Docker environment, whether it's you are running a Kubernetes instance in your on-prem environment, you can still do that. So I have already created, it will take the complete 10-15 minutes to deploy this model completely. So that's where I have already created one. So if you see here, my container instance, I have already getting used. This is container image, my network latency, everything is used. If you see the container, it will show the container it's using. If you see it, it fetch the image from URL we have given, it started the container and it's using the image that we have given. So which means that I'm using using the AI service in my own environment. I have now more access, more, I would say, more secure environment. I can decide what I want to do, who I want to give access, whether I want to run in on-prem or in my own data center, or let's say in other cloud provider as well. You can do this type of flexibility also, because AI model can be used by anyone, as we talked about, right? It should be inclusive enough. Even someone who don't want to bring their data into the cloud, still they should be able to use the AI services, and that's what this capability offer you, that you can take your the AI environment and host it anywhere you want. So this was about the container instance. Now we are coming to the last section of our today's session, that is monitoring. So when we talk about monitoring, right, since this AI model we are talking about, these all are running into the cloud environment, how you gonna understand how your AI model is getting used, how much success rate are, whether your AI is failing with some error, or how many requests are coming per second, what is the billing, all these things you can do it using the monitoring services that are available into Azure. You can have the visibility into your cloud environment, and it is very critical, you understand, right? Because this is not running into your on-prem environment until unless you are running it as a container, but in most of the scenario it is running into the cloud environment. So you need visibility, you need to understand what is happening in my system, how my system is responding, is there any latency issue, or is there any call failing for my application, or how many call coming per second to my application, so that you can take decisions based upon those factors. Then you can plan the cost of your AI services based upon the how much use you are saying, how many API call happening per second. You can use pricing calculator into Azure to predict like, okay, this is the cost that is going to be for my AI services. You can create alerts to tell you if, let's say, any error happens because you are running a critical application, right? Let's say if it's failed to access the AI services or some error happening, let's say, as you can see, right, I regenerated the key, and because of that my application was now not able to access the key, not access the my AI model. How I going to come to know? Because for now I was running this as my own, right, by running Python. But most of the scenario in enterprise application, it will be going to happen from the back end. Application is going to make call automatically. You will not be the person who will be making a call. So how you will come to know whether it's failing or it's successful? Based upon the alerts, you can set alerts to tell that, okay, if there is any error coming, inform me or take some action on top of that. You can do all these things using monitoring services that is available in Azure. You can manage diagnostic logs. You can understand what is happening when you create services, what is happening behind the scene, in terms of storing it into more, I would say, for a longer archival period, maybe in a storage account, or uploading those data into log analytics workspace so that you can perform more decision making using those metrics that you can see. So this is what monitoring can offer you into Azure, especially for AI services. It's very critical to understand how you can monitor your environment. And this is one of the visualization that I have created to help you understand. It is not only specific to AI services, but it also cover the AI aspect as well. That anything that you see into Azure, whether it's application, operating system log, Azure resources, logs from Azure subscription, Azure tenant, custom source, everything comes to either to metrics or to logs into Azure Monitor, and you can perform lot of operation. You can store it into, let's say, dashboard. You can create store it into Power BI. You can analyze this data into maybe log analytics workspace, or you can create some alerts rule. You can auto scale. Let's say you are seeing that, okay, your application is getting used 100% or 90%. You can set auto scale rule that, okay, let's say, if my application will go above 90%, scale it to 2 unit or scale it to 10 unit. This automatic options that is available for you, that provide a lot of flexibility in your environment, how you manage your AI services. Let's go to a demo and see how we can do these things, how we can see all these logs and where you can see this. So I will go to my resource group. I will go to my AI services. And if you see here with my AI services, this is my AI service, I will select. There is a complete section for monitoring. Okay. Here you have metrics, you have diagnostic log, you have logs, you have alerts. Let's start with metrics. We see how you can see metrics and you can understand what is happening. Okay. First, let's see total calls that is coming to my system. Okay. If you see here, I made a couple of calls yesterday. I am making a lot of call today. You can see number of calls that is coming into my system. These type of metrics you will able to see from your portal. You can also see other type of log. Let's say latency. If you want to see, is there any latency into your? If you see here is 40 milliseconds, so you are able to get a response just in 40 milliseconds. But let's say if lot of call will be coming, you can see maybe it is taking more time. So that's where you can take decision to maybe increase the number of AI services or increase the number of endpoint. You can make decisions based upon the data that you are seeing. You can also see any client error that happened. During this phase, there is no error. So that's where you are not seeing any client error. You can see blocked call. Let's say you have created some VNet rule or firewall rule, and you want to see how many calls are getting blocked. You can see that here itself. You can see total error. There is a lot of customs log that is already available. You can total token calls. You can see everything, whatever the data that will be available. Because this is a small model that I created for this, you are only able to see some specific data like data in. You can be able to see how much data this model is taking, and you can also see how many data is getting out. So you can see how much data is getting out from this AI model. All these information you will able to see from the metrics. You also have activity logs. Here you will able to see management component level operation. Let's say someone has changed the key, regenerated the key, or someone has created the service or make some changes into your environment. You can able to see, let's say I will select for last 1 week. All the operation that I have did, list key, write API account, all these operations I have performed, you will able to see here what type of operation I have performed. You can click on here in the JSON, you will able to understand what happened at that particular time, to understand more about what, let's say if any issue will happen, let's say while creating the service, generating the key, anything, you will able to see from here as well. Then comes the diagnostic log. Here you can create, as I said, you can store these logs whatever the place you want. You can store into storage account, you can store into event hub, you can store it into log analytics workspace, where you can see a lot more metrics than what you're seeing currently. So how you can do it, you can click on add diagnostic, give it a name. Let's say I'm giving it just a testing. I will select what type of log I want to log it. All audit logs, all logs, and where we want to stream it. Even you can stream it to multiple places. I can select log analytics workspace. I can store into my default workspace. I can store into storage account, and I can do click on save, and it will save. It will take approx 30 minutes to 1 hour to populate the logs. Then after that we will able to see more of these logs into the environment. So that's how you will able to see more of the logs into your environment and store it for a longer period of time into your environment. Then the next section comes is alerts. We were talking about alerts, right? How you can create alerts. Let's say something went wrong, your application is not able to use the AI service. How you gonna inform you, how this model can going to inform you? You can create alert rule. You can select the signal, what type of error you want to see. If you want to see that, okay, total error will increase number of calls, or let's say your application is depend upon low latency, that it should not have high latency, you can select the latency as well. I will select calls, total errors, and I will tell if error is more than 3 in, let's say, last, I can give static or dynamic. If the error count is more than 3, inform me. Okay, and it will check every minute. In a minute, if it will have more than 3 error, it will inform me that okay, there is something wrong with your service. You can go ahead and look into that. Okay, what action it will do, how we are going to get informed. We can create action group. Okay, I will give it some name, some random name. I will here also give random name. Notification, here I can select how I want to get notified. Maybe I want to give it email, and here I can pass my own email address. Maybe some, let's say I pass my own email address, or maybe I want to make a call or send me SMS. Based upon whatever I have, I will mention here. It is going to inform me when such error is going to happen in future, right? Name, I will give it some name, action resource group, review and create, and I can just create the action group. And as soon as, let's say, more than 3 errors will happen in, let's say, last 1 minute, it will inform me through email. And as then I will able to take decisions that okay, what should I change, what error happened, and promptly I'm able to respond to any issues that happen. It's very critical when we talk about AI services, that whether our model is secure enough or not, whether let's say some error happens, we should be informed very fast, because a lot of lives can depend upon your AI service. So a lot of decisions can be dependent upon the AI model that is going to be created. So it's very important to understand the monitoring aspect. That's where you see a lot of questions when you go for interviews for cloud or AI based role. They ask you question related to how you're going to monitor your application, how you're going to understand what is happening, what's wrong happening, how you're going to look into these aspects. You're going to see these type of questions into your interviews as well as into AI 102 exam. So with this, we are coming to the end of the today's session. I think we are exact on time. I would say we have exciting future ahead. This is just the start of the AI revolution. As yesterday I talked about, India is changing, the world is changing. If AI have to be successful in the world, India should be the epicenter of this. We should be the one who should be innovating on top of that. We are seeing a lot of innovation that is happening in India. A lot of startup is getting built based upon the AI services, how better utilize AI services and solve the real world problem that is there into in our society or into the industry. We should understand what is the problem and how AI can come into the picture to solve this problem. With this, I want to say thank you everyone for watching. It's Sunday. I know some people from the college, some people may be professional. Even you are taking time to study on Sunday. This is showing your commitment that you are ready to learn something new. You are ready to invest on your learning. You are ready to upskill yourself with the trend, with the changing trend into the industry. I'm glad you joined. I'm looking forward to see your blog, whatever you have learned today, and share it on LinkedIn, share it on Twitter, tag me, tag the team, tag Azure Developer Community, WizLab, so that you get the visibility. People across your network should know that you are investing your time to learn something new, learn something that is required into the industry, and we will reshare this post, reshare your blog so that it should reach to the broader audience. And also, as you know, that you are going to get a lot of goodies, swags every week. So based upon this particular session, next session you will be seeing who is going to be the winner, or at the end of the session you will come to know who is going to be the winner. But every week, based upon the blocks, we are going to select who is the winner of those sessions, or those blocks, or the GitHub pages. Okay, I will look into the chat if there is any questions. If anyone have anything, feel free to ask. Thank you all. Thank you for all those feedback. Really means a lot to me. I'm glad that you were able to learn something new, and I'm part of your learning journey. Feel free to reach out to me anytime on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, GitHub, anywhere possible. You can connect me. Feel free to ask any questions related to this bootcamp or in general career. Anything you want to ask, I will be there to guide you and help you. So thank you. With that, I will hand over to Vinayak. Over to you, Vinayak.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your invaluable insights and expertise with us today. We truly appreciate the time and effort that you have put into this session. Now,
Thank
I
you.
would like to open the floor for the questions to the audience. If you have any questions for Saurav sir, please drop in the chat and we'll address as many as possible. Please don't hesitate, as this is your chance to get the answers directly from the expert. While we are getting questions, sir, I wanted to ask one question from you personally. How can we estimate the cost of any service that what if there is a key vault, like how are we going to calculate its cost, how much is it going to cost us time to time?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Vinayak. It's a great question. So let me take you to the tool that can help you to estimate the cost. Okay, so search for Azure pricing calculator. Okay, and you will see the pricing calculator here that can help you to estimate the cost. This will be a estimated cost. It could not be exactly, because a lot of things depend upon how much you are using it, because a lot of AI services are, or any Azure services is on pay as you go basis. Okay, so but you can estimate the cost, how much it can cost you. Let's say I will select Azure, AI and machine learning, since we are talking about that. I will select, let's say, Azure AI search. Okay, if you see here, now AI search will come into the picture. It will tell which region I want to create the service. Maybe let's say I will select India. Let me see if uh, yeah, central India, maybe I will select, and in the tier, let's say I want to create S1 tier. Okay, now let's say number of unit is 1, or let's say number of unit is 5 or 4. Okay, and let's say I'm going to use it for 10 hour. And if you see here, it will be generating me monthly cost. Okay, there is no upfront cost, like we don't have to pay anything upfront. But based upon what I have entered, let's say 10 hour 4 unit I'm going to use, it will generate me the uh, report or monthly cost that I can use it. If you see here, there's a lot of options that are included. You can even export it as a Excel file so that you can take later decisions based upon that. So I will just want to show you this also. So let it open. Service, you will able to take decisions based upon that. Okay, what regions I have selected, number of hour, estimate cost. And if you will have, let's say, multiple service, you will able to take decisions based upon all this information that you are seeing here. Central India, standard tier, 4 unit, 10 hour, it will be costing 17.76 dollar. Let's say there will be multiple service, you are going to see multiple services here, and it will generate you the total cost. By this way, you will able to predict, like, okay, this is approx cost that I am going to be encountering, let's say, in a month. And based upon that, let's say you can take even multiple service here. One more service you can add here. You can select, let's say, S1 tier. Number of messages you will be making. Let's say I will select 10,000 calls I will be making. And now if you see here the cost, and again now if you see, it is $5,000 altogether. So that's it. You can mention as much as what you want. You can export it. Maybe you have to share it to your stakeholders, how much is going to be cost. These things you can mention, and you can create a complete report out of it. So that's how you can predict how much cost it can going to, how much it's going to cost you. Other thing very important is to see the metrics that how much is getting used. Let's say how many calls is making in, let's say, last 1 month, or how much cost, how much let's say number of requests that came to your environment. Based upon these factors also you can decide, because here you have to give the numbers, right? That okay, how much number of messages you will be making into your chatbot. So you have to decide that based upon the metrics or the monitoring logs that we have seen, right? You can use that to predict how much cost, how much it's going to cost you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, a quick reminder about the goodies. To stand a chance to win some amazing prizes, you would have to make sure about the following. The participants would have to write a blog or maintain a GitHub repository for each session. You would have to post about your learnings on LinkedIn or X, mentioning Azure Developer Community, Wiz Labs, and Yash Katyar. We'll be sharing the submission form in our WhatsApp community, and you will also be getting a mail regarding the same, so keep an eye out for that. Engagement in the live sessions will be monitored. The participants will have to follow our social media handles. Remember, your submissions will be evaluated, and the best ones will receive exclusive goodies. The deadline for the submission of the task this time will be Thursday, that is 17th October 2024 by 11:59 p.m. To stay updated with all our events, news, and announcements, please scan the QR code on your screen to join our social media channels and WhatsApp community. It's the best way to stay connected and never miss an update. We will be moving forward while you can take a screenshot of the QR or just pause the video. Now, we have some exciting prizes lined up for the most engaged participants, so be sure to complete the task, engage in the discussions, and share your learning on social media with our hashtags. The top 3 participants who have the best blog or GitHub pages will receive branded Microsoft goodies. At the end of the bootcamp, the top 15 best blogs or GitHub pages will receive 1 month WizLab subscription. A special thank you to the amazing team who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this event possible. Your dedication and hard work have truly made a difference, and we are grateful for everything you do. We look forward to seeing you all again on 19th of October for our next session on Create Computer Vision Solutions with Azure AI Vision. It promises to be another great learning experience, so don't miss it. Thank you once again to everyone who has joined us today. We hope you find this session valuable and inspiring. Let's continue to learn and grow together as we explore the endless possibilities in the world of AI. Have a great day, and we'll see you all on 19th at 12 p.m. on the same platform.